Hey, sister girls, it's your big sister, Abby Rodell, and this is Full Roster, your go to dating podcast for advice, hilarious stories, tough love, and a deep dive into the shit show that is the dating world. Welcome to Full Roster. Sister girls, welcome back. This is episode 4 of Full Roster. I cannot believe that I have officially been doing this for a month now. It feels like I've been doing it a lot longer for whatever reason, but I'm having so much fun doing it. This episode is going to be a lot shorter and a lot lighter than it was last week. Thank you so much to the people who did listen. I know it was an hour and that is very time consuming, so just know how much I appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to that. I showed a very vulnerable side of myself that not many people get to see, and not many people have heard that story. And so it felt good to share it and get it out there. I've had a lot of women reach out to me with their own stories, and hopefully we'll share those stories in the near future. I just want to make sure that I do their stories justice. I want them to feel heard while not putting their safety at risk. So I'm just trying to figure all of that out, but keep your eye out for that. This week is going to be all about, lightness, funny. We're going to talk about terrible first dates, which are obviously so hilarious when it's not happening to you. So I cannot wait to dive in and start talking about that. The first thing that we're going to do is go through our roster rundown. I've got a couple things to talk about. First, I want to talk about the Gen Z terms that have been circulating. I had to look all of these up. I don't know what any of them are. The first word is called banksying, leaving without having a conversation, being so done with the relationship you just leave, leaving the person you left to pick up the pieces and try to understand what went wrong. So ghosting, I don't know how that is any different than ghosting. Yeah, you're ghosting them. So I don't know why it's called banksying. I feel like Gen Z has to change up all the words and make their own terms. So whatever, they're calling it banksying these days. Submarining. When someone you've been talking to initially ghosts you, but then circles back a few months later looking to rekindle, which is keyword for hookup. Okay. That happens all the time. Submarining, I feel like happens all the time. The men that leave you, they're going to come back. I feel like that's what men do. It's hilarious that it's called submarining. I mean, I understand why it's called that. They go under for a long period of time and then come back and make an appearance. So I do understand why they would call it submarining. The last one is called choremance. This means that your dates consist of doing chores, running to the grocery store, walking your dog, shopping, going to the pharmacy. That's weird. If you're asking me on a first date, I want you to plan something. I want you to plan an actual date, a restaurant. In fact, it actually turns me off when men ask me to just go get coffee. You're not willing to put in an effort at all. Yeah, I don't like that. I'm not doing a coffee date. I'm damn sure not doing chores. I think like later on when you've had several dates and you're kind of taking it to the next level, walking your dog or going for a walk or something like that might be more realistic. Like I could see that. Going to the pharmacy though, I feel like this is because Gen Z dating apps are so crazy right now. People are just swiping and going out on like 10 dates a week. So I feel like, Gen Z, they're younger, they're freaking broke. They haven't gotten really nice, good paying jobs yet. They're still in college and shit. So, or they're graduated, but they're just starting their careers. You know what I mean? We all started somewhere. So they're not making too much money. Like millennials, I feel like we're kind of established now and making decent money to where we can go spend it on having nicer dates. But Gen Z, they want to go do chores together. Leave me the hell out of it. So these next two are going to be from the Bravo world. If you guys don't know what Bravo is, go educate yourself. It's reality television. I'm obsessed with it. I love it. So anyway, a couple of things have happened in the Bravoverse. And the first one being that Kyle Cook and Amanda Batula are separating or divorcing, one or the other. They put out a statement, or Amanda put out a statement, I suppose. She said, "After much reflection, we have mutually and amicably decided to part ways as a couple. We share this with a heavy heart and kindly ask for your grace and support while we focus on our personal growth and healing. It feels ironic to ask for privacy during this time since we've always tried to be open and honest about our relationship. But your kindness and respect will go a long way as we try to navigate the next chapter." I get what she's saying, and they have shared so much of themselves on TV. At the end of the day, they are real people. This is their real marriage. They were married, I think, for 4 years, which longer than I was married. I'm honestly excited for both of them. I don't see this as a bad thing. I think both of them are going to thrive separately. Kyle wanted to go out and do his DJ thing and stay up all hours of the night. Amanda wanted him home. I think she is going to thrive now that she doesn't have to take care of his ass. Like, he wanted her at home to start a family and to raise his kids while he was out doing stupid bullshit like being a DJ. So I can't wait to see what she does. She is going to be hotter and more successful than ever. I cannot wait to see her thrive, actually. And he will too. He's going to thrive too, honestly. So this is a good thing. I think this is a great thing. It'll be interesting to see how it affects Summer House next summer. Okay, the last one is Bronwyn Newport and Todd Bradley, separation. So Bronwyn is on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. They're doing their reunion right now. I just watched the second part of the reunion today. They still didn't dive into the separation, so I guess they're saving that for part 3, which I totally understand. But they have made it public already that they are separated. I also think this is going to be great for both of them. Let Todd go out and do his single guy thing. I mean, I don't think that they had fun together. They looked miserable. Granted, I know it's TV and we don't see like their actual relationship and stuff like that. I'm aware. I just think that she'll be so happy. She needs to go live her best life too and get away from his old cranky ass. And I hope that she financially has the means to move forward and take care of herself. I guess they don't have a prenup, if I remember correctly, about them talking about that on Salt Lake City. They might not have a prenup. If that's the case, good for her. Get that bag, bitch. Get that bag. Take him for all he's worth, honestly. Get that bread, get that head, then leave. Until I have sponsorships, here's a quick plug, sisters. If you're all about fashion, fitness, and lifestyle inspo, head over to my LTK. I'm dropping my favorite looks, workout must-haves, and items I use on the daily. The best part about it is you can shop everything in one place. Follow me at Abby Rodell and get in on all of the looks I am serving. Okay, sisters, we're back with some Sister Circle. Like I said, we're going to talk about horrible first dates, and I try not to read these before I do them on the pod just so I can give you my first reaction, but I obviously have to copy and paste them onto these labels, so I get a little bit of a sense of what I'm going to be reading. I'm just really excited to read these because I was cracking up at some of them when I was printing them out and putting them on these cards. So I hope you guys get some good laughs out of this. I'm sure I will too. So let's dive into the first one. I agreed to go out with a guy that I casually knew. So I picked him up. We went out to a steakhouse and he got drunk. Sloppy drunk. He kept sending his steak back and complaining about the way it was cooked, was rude to the waitstaff. He was super loud, messy, etc. I was so embarrassed. It's finally time to go and the bill comes and he drunkenly says, "You got any cash on you?" So I ended up paying for dinner, which wasn't cheap because he ordered several drinks, along with the fact that I had driven us too. I drive him home and he tried to get me to come inside for some action. I got him out of my car and left. I didn't even make sure he successfully got his drunken self inside. I was mortified and figured he can take it from there. Oh my God, he was a whole ass princess on that date. You just took that man for a date. Honestly, how you took him out on a date is like what women are begging for. A man to just drive them to a date, let them get hammered, pay for dinner, and take them back home. Even though it's freaking hilarious you did not make sure that he got inside. I mean, I wouldn't have either. That's on him. He can get his ass inside. I can only imagine if you would have walked him in to his house that you might not have had an easy time getting out of there. Number 2, we met online and agreed to meet at a favorite pizza place of mine. He was kind of short, almost rude to the server. Insisted I have an alcoholic beverage at dinner. Then we went to a movie after and he whips out an old student ID to get a discount. He was not a student at the time. He was almost 30. He had also told me at dinner that he had recently quit his job and moved home with his mom. He had no plans for getting a new job. He had no idea what he was going to do moving forward and guessed he was just going to mooch off his mom as long as she'd let him. Jesus Christ. He told you all of this at dinner and you still went to a movie with him? No, fuck no. I'm not sitting through no damn movie with a dude that I have zero intention of dating. No job, lives with mommy, no plans of getting a job. No, that's crazy. And he's 30. Like, you're too goddamn old for that, sir. Come on. I can't with the adults that live with their parents. I don't get it. I understand like falling on hard times and having to do that for a little bit. Like I feel like I'm being generous. But living with them, I don't get it. Why wouldn't you want to live by yourself? Like go thrive and live by yourself. I find it to be so strange. But another girl doing charity work on this story, being nice and continuing the date and not leaving his ass. Hopefully she never talked to him again after that. Number 3, this guy picked me up, first mistake, and took me to Buffalo Wild Wings. My choice because it was busy and I knew one of the bartenders. He proceeded to sit there and talk about his job and how rich he was, how he was going to buy property in the country and keep his wife barefoot and pregnant, and how women are only good for having babies and cleaning houses. I escaped to the bathroom for a good chunk and called a friend to come get me. She happened to be there with her friends like an hour into the date, and I said I was going to go catch up with them when he offered to take me home. We met at a friend's house, not mine, thank God. It was awful. He also looked nothing like his profile. It was such a disaster. Oh my God, I can just imagine if a man told me he wanted a woman barefoot and pregnant, how I would respond. Not well, I'm sure. The people who look nothing like their profile on a dating app, God, that drives me nuts. And I know women are really bad about it too, but from my experience, men are also really bad. Like doing the thing where the photos are 10 years old. And you do not look like that anymore, sir. Okay, we all age. I don't get it. I would be mortified if I showed up to a date and somebody said, like, you look nothing like your photos. That would mortify me. I am glad that she knew the bartender, and I am glad that her friend came to meet up with her on this so that she could get the fuck out of there. Okay, next one. Went on a date with this dude. Let's call him T. So many red flags before we even hung out the first time, but you're stupid when you're young. Amen to that. Anyways, before our date, I met T at his house and we were going to drive over an hour to Council Bluffs for a car show. He offered to drive, so I left my keys and wallet at his place. I kid you not, we weren't even gone 30 minutes into our drive and I get a bunch of text messages from a number that I don't know, basically saying, just to let you know I slept at his house last night, or did he tell you about me, etc., etc. I kept quiet with him the whole drive, trying to process what the fuck this person was even saying to me and how she knew we were going on a date together right now. Finally, I remembered I left my wallet with my ID at his house. She saw it and she then knew we were together, meaning she was still at his house when I showed up. I acted like nothing was wrong because I had to get back to his house to get my wallet and keys, but I ghosted after. Holy crap. That's crazy. Yeah, good for you for getting the fuck out of there. Honestly, I talk a lot of shit about like calling people out and stuff like that, but it would have been awkward as hell if you would have brought that up to him while you were driving and you had no way to leave. Going through with the date was probably the best thing you could have done, even though I'm sure it was torture going through to a car show and everything, and then coming back and having to wait all day to get your shit and get the hell out of there. I'm sure you did the right thing. You wouldn't have wanted him to leave you at a gas station or something, because then you would have had to call somebody. Your wallet and keys still would have been at his place. So I think you probably did the right thing, but yeah, it was probably very hard to keep going on that date with that guy. Next one. When I was in college, I was checking out in the dining hall, and a guy standing near the kiosk saw my name on my ID card and looked me up on Facebook later to tell me he thinks that I am cute. He was friends with one of my high school classmates who I trusted, so I let my guard down a bit. He wanted to go on a date, but I was hesitant, so we eventually agreed to go to a concert 2 hours away. It was me, him, our mutual friend, and my roommate. While at the concert, he tried to impress me by stage diving, but he timed it wrong at the very end of the show, and no one caught him, and he fell and got pretty injured. It was a horribly awkward 2 hour drive back, and it turns out he ended up puncturing a lung. Despite all of that, we ended up hanging out more and ultimately dated for a year. Worst relationship of my life. Should have paid attention to the red flags from the beginning. I would say so. I can't believe he was stage diving. What the? Who the fuck does that? And nobody caught him. How many people were standing in front of him when he dove off that stage is what I want to know. Like, were there a shit ton of people and they all just moved out of the way? Or was there like 4 people, 5 people in the crowd and they just didn't catch him? That's crazy. Wow. You punctured a lung. That dude, he gave it 100%. That motherfucker committed to stage diving. For him to puncture a lung, yeah, that's crazy, dude. Next one. We grabbed a drink and we were totally vibing. So he asked if I wanted to go watch the sunset. Sure. Well, it ended up being his dog's graveyard. That wasn't the bad part. I had to hear about how no woman will ever be as loyal as them, and he doesn't even know why he wastes time. Then he said, but you seem so different than the other hoes. When I asked him to take me back to my car to pick up my son from the airport, something he knew I was going to have to leave for at a specific time, he turned on Morgan Wallen, took his hair down and shirt off, and sped down the interstate like a madman, incessantly talking about you all being the same. What the fuck? Sounds like a fucking psychopath, and it sounds like he did you a favor and you dodged a bullet. Jesus Christ, I hope you never saw him again. What a fuck. You're all the same. That's hilarious because I say that about men. Am I being a hypocrite right now? Dude has seen some trauma. He has some trauma. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Granted, I say all men are the same, but I don't say that shit when I go out on a date and stuff. I go on a date with optimism and an open heart. They just let me down later. All right, here we go. Next one. We were both athletes in college and became really good friends to the point where there was an attraction. So when mutual friends were getting married, we decided to test the waters and go together. He picked me up and we drove to the wedding. The wedding was a blast. We danced the night away. I thought, wow, this might actually be something worth giving a shot. Our friends who got married and their family said they were going to IHOP afterwards to hang out and gorge on pancakes, so obviously we tagged along. This is where things started going very south. Some of the kids that were with us, ranging from middle school up, began daring each other to mix random foods and drinks. Next thing I know, my date started taking shots of Tabasco sauce and coffee creamer. Gross. Homeboy was in the bathroom for so long. One of the guys had to go check on him, and I had to awkwardly sit with the family. After an hour, he came out, and we made the 2 hour drive back to our college town in February with the windows down the entire drive because he was having such horrible gas. Oh my God, bro. I never looked at him the same because of his immaturity that night. We are still really good friends. The week he got drafted to the NFL, I mailed him a bottle of Tabasco and coffee creamer and told him not to get hazed by the pros. The millions he made playing in the NFL to this day still would not have made me want to relive that date. Damn, his gas must have been awful. I wonder if he's lactose intolerant with the coffee creamer or something, because that... oh my God, I can't even imagine how terrible that was. That is fucking funny. And the fact that you sent him Tabasco and coffee creamer as a celebration when he got drafted, good for you. That's perfect. Okay, here's the last one. I matched with this guy. We were vibing. Great conversations. We snapped each other, talked on the phone. After about 3 weeks of communicating, I agreed to a date. I drove an hour and 45 minutes to meet this dude. I live in a small town, so I offered to drive him so that we would have something to do. I was very nervous. It was my first date after having my son and leaving my son's father after 5 years. I agreed to meet this guy at his place before heading to supper. Mind you, this is my first time meeting this man in person. He led me to his apartment and there were rose petals all over and candles lit. Then he leads me to his room, oh Jesus, that had a little box on his bed. And in it was a Polaroid photo of him and a blank one that said we would take one together, along with a key to his apartment telling me I was welcome anytime. I was like, dude, can we go eat? Halfway through our meal, I texted my mom and told her she had to call me to come home to get my son ASAP. WTF, bro. That's doing a lot. You know, women want men to be chalant and they want men to put themselves out there, but like there's also a line. Doing all of that the first time you actually meet somebody in person is very, very excessive. She probably ghosted him, and he probably is saying, girls don't want a good guy. They don't ever want the good guy. No, you're a fucking weirdo and you don't know boundaries. That's a crazy timeline. To give someone a key to your apartment and it's the first time you've met them and you've only been talking for 3 weeks. That's crazy. You're crazy, dude. Like that's some next level shit. I am glad she got out of there. And I hope she fucking ghosted this guy. I mean, what the fuck? That's weird. That's weird as hell. Hey sisters, before we wrap up with our last segment, if you want even more behind the scenes, daily vibes, and want to get to know me on a more personal level, make sure you follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Abby Rodell. That's ABBEYROEDEL. I share everything from fashion, fitness, and lifestyle to funny or frustrating personal moments. I'd love to see you there. Slide into my DMs and say hi. Welcome back, sister gals. We are going to get into inbox audacity. These are messages that grown-ass men send to women, and I am dumbfounded by the audacity every single week when I read these. So let's dive in. Him. May I get down and lick your shoes for a price? If not, may I buy a pair of your own? Just getting straight to the point. LOL. How much money we talking? I'll let anybody lick my shoes for some cash. I mean, get that bag, girl. Now, I don't know that I would sell my shoes off. You'd have to pay me a lot more money to sell you the shoes that I have because then I have to replace them. Sometimes they're not always available, like they're irreplaceable type thing. You'd have to give me a lot more money for that. But listen, if you want to buy my shoes or lick my shoes for money, slide in. Slide in the DMs, son. Actually, don't. I already have way too many motherfuckers in my DMs being freaks. I don't know. Depends on how much you're paying. Okay, here's the next one. Him. I only say hi to girls that I think would be a good fuck, but they have to be smart, okay? Like, how does he know? Does that just mean they're hot? If he says they look like they are a good fuck, they would be a good fuck. What does that mean? What does that look like? He just thinks they're hot. If he just wants to fuck them, why do they have to be smart? You know? I don't get the logic behind this one. Okay, here's the third one. Her. It was nice meeting you tonight. We should definitely go out for coffee at Blank Street sometime. Him. Or you could just come over right now, but only if you think you can handle me. Bruh. Why do the men just have to fuck it up? Like, she was being so nice. She wanted to go out with him again. It seems like she was excited to see him again. And then he pulls this shit. 10 times out of 10, any man who has said, if you think you can handle me, has a tiny dick. I've never had a good experience with a man who says, do you think you can handle me? Yes, motherfucker. Anyone can handle you. Anyone can handle that tiny dick of yours. Like, he just freaking ruined the whole thing. I wonder if she blocked him or not. I wonder if they ever went to Blank Street. I hope she did not go over to his house. Surely not, since she shared this. Here is the last one. A woman was working at Casey's and a man who was maybe 50 or 60 walked in and said to her, I am sorry to see you're working behind a counter and not bent over one. And then winked at her. 50 or 60 years old? Saying that shit. This girl was probably younger. Gross. Fucking old ass pervert. Get your little ass out of my Casey's, brother. Ugh. That's so gross. Creepy. Creepy old man. It's just so weird. Not bent over one. That is some audacity, dude. That was in person. Saying that in person to somebody, that's wild and creepy as fuck. Like, you give no fucks about anybody. Not even yourself, if you're talking like that in public, I feel like. All right, sister girls, that is it for episode 4. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you got some good laughs out of it this week. Next week, I'm not 100% sure what we're going to talk about. I have not put that on the schedule yet. I think it'll still be something light. Maybe we'll do like green flags or something like that. We'll talk about green flags. What's a green flag to you? What do women see as a green flag? And just kind of go from there. So that's just me kind of spitballing. I don't know 100% if that's what we'll talk about or not. But anyway, join me next week. If you guys are loving this podcast, please subscribe to the channel that you watch it on, YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcast. And if you could leave a good review, I would also appreciate that so much. It helps me a lot and helps the platform push out my podcast to new people. So thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you for listening. Come back next week for more belly laughs and crazy dating stories. Until then, may your DMs be smooth and the red flags be so obvious. See ya. Thank you for listening to Full Roster. You can find me on all socials at Full Roster Pod, and you can watch the video on YouTube. Like and subscribe to support the show, and come back for the next episode. See you next week.